two. Hi, everybody, and welcome to this amazing Saturday. I am so excited today because I've got a special guest. Judy Hurst is going to talk to us about Inkanterra and Peru, and I just happen to love all of the moving pieces. We're going to focus today a little bit on Machu Picchu, which is really where, the heart and soul of everything Andes is, right? So we're super excited to bring you this, and of course, for you guys who are thinking of this as a bucket list item, certainly we'll make it happen for you. So with that, Judy is my great colleague who is really a lot of my marketing on the ground locally for me. So she is really going to take it away and show us the beauty of Machu Picchu.
Thank you, Lulu. As we continue your marvelous trip around the world, we've now made it to South America. We've made it to Peru. A lot of people know about Peru as far as I want to go there, but they don't know much more than Machu Picchu. And that's what we're going to discover a little bit today, although we are going to focus on one of the Inkanterra properties, the one at Machu Picchu, but I want to give you a little bit more insight on the archaeological site itself and what you can honestly expect out of the experience.
And that's awesome. So not only is this property ranked number 3 in the world, so that means that you guys have to be here, and we really need to make sure that you stay at least 2 nights because this property has so many wonderful things.
That's another issue that we can elaborate a bit on too. A lot of people, Americans are vacation poor. We don't have a lot of time. Right. And we try to cram everything into 7 to 10 days. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying that Peru comes with the added attraction of altitude. And altitude means you have to slow down a little bit. So indeed, one night at Machu Picchu really isn't sufficient. What I wanted to say that the Inkanterra properties, the founder of the small group of hotels, they're privately owned, Jose Kecklin, he has been credited to be the originator of sustainable tourism in Peru. He's very acclaimed, and the hotels have won every award there is to win. So we're gonna go to what I think is the heartbeat is the one at Machu Picchu. These are, just for example, these are the other locations of the Inkanterra properties.
And so we can actually plan to have you guys stay at all the different properties as we make our way around, so you can have a true experience of what this sustainable travel is about. Keeping in mind that that's really what my focus is. Book Your Give Here is all about social responsibility and sustainable travel. So this is a really great partner. Let's talk about the size of Peru per se, right? So, we talk about compared to the US, what is it really? So it's smaller than Alaska, but it is twice the size of Texas. So that's a, big piece of land.
Sure is. And because of those Andes Mountains, getting from point A to point B is not necessarily a nonstop flight. There are a lot of moving pieces to going to Peru. This is a really important chart that I want you to take a look at, because when you see visuals of Machu Picchu and you think of Peru, you think that Machu Picchu is going to be the highest point you're going to be visiting, and that is not the case at all. In fact, when you look at this chart in green, that's where the Machu Picchu property is located in the archaeological site. However, when you look above it, that's the property in the Sacred Valley, that's a higher altitude, and Cusco, which is the airport that you're going to fly into, is even a higher altitude. So strangely enough, we go to Cusco and then we work our way to lower altitude. It's absolutely contrary to what you think. And it's important to keep this in mind because of the altitude.
Yeah. And so here's a great map that kind of shows us a lot of these moving pieces, and also where some of the other Inkanterra properties are. So it'll give you a great visual overall in terms of where you are when you're in Cusco, where you go into the Sacred Village, and then of course into Machu Picchu.
Right. So the lower corner in yellow, that's That's the Cusco airport. That's where you're going to fly into. You will be met upon arrival by the partners that Lulu will book you with and make the arrangements. You're met at Cusco, taken by road to the Sacred Valley, which is the little purple box area, which is where you get the train that will take you to Machu Picchu. So that's why I say it's not 1, 2, 3 and you're there. The drive from Cusco to the Sacred Valley is an hour and a half by road, but you're going down in altitude, so you're going to start feeling better. And then continuing, when you get on the train, it is yet another hour and a half to get to the Machu Picchu area. So
Yep.
it's a journey.
Yeah, as it is. And for those of you guys who do have some level of altitude sensitivity, I do recommend that you take some aspirin with you, so that also that helps your system overall.
Cusco, by the way, well, I'm backtracking a tad. You fly into Lima. Lima is the point of entry where
Right.
international flights are going to take you. Lima is sea level. There are no issues there at all. In a 1 hour flight, you're flying from Lima to Cusco, 1 hour. When you land, the altitude is now double
Yes.
Denver. So
Yes.
if you go to the Rockies and you have a little bit of a challenge, you may indeed have a little bit more challenges. That's why we want to get you to lower altitude to acclimate.
Yes, absolutely. So with that, take a look on some of the ways that you're actually going to be able to travel. So here's the train, the pictures of the train, and the kind of experience that you're going to have.
There are several trains. There's a tourist train, there's a local train, and then there is the ultra posh Hiram Bingham train. And either way, it's an hour and a half, almost 2 hours basically, but the difference runs anywhere from $55 a person to $500 a person one way. So keep that thought in mind, but there are options. You might want to splurge in one direction and be a little frugal on the way on another direction.
And so, and it really is an experience no matter which way you take.
Absolutely.
So you can do both, which is a beautiful thing. So now we're going to get into Aguascalientes, which Aguascalientes is where you pick up the train.
That's where you get off the train for
I'm
Machu.
sorry, get off. My apologies.
That's what you meant. And that's where, again, our hotel, Inkanterra, we meet all of the clients at the train station. We have a sign with your name. You point out your luggage. You don't have to touch it. It will be taken care of. And this is a little different than what you think, but you will walk to the Machu Picchu Pueblo Hotel. It's about a 6-minute walk. We're not going up to the archaeological site quite yet.
No, and this property is awesome. So, as I mentioned earlier, it really is a place where you want to spend a couple of nights, because here the property itself has so many moving pieces. If you're a bird watcher, this is amazing as well. So you not only get to see amazing species, but you also just have a great spa experience here as well. So and that is something that is that wellness, right? It's that mind, body, spirit. You're already in the Andes, and so you're going to get that whole holistic piece of recharging your batteries.
And Inkanterra is all about authentic Peruvian experiences. They are not into building a hotel structure that has elevators and long corridors to walk down to get to your room. The property itself is on a hillside overlooking the village on a 12-acre estate, and there are 85 individual casitas. So you're not really attached to anyone. This slide just gives you a little bit of an idea of the services that each and every guest that Lulu will book to stay with us at the Inkanterra Pueblo. Definitely, I mean, you can read these. I don't need to read them all for you, but important because you're going to get to taste your pisco sour, which is the traditional drink of Peru, and that every night they have pisco sour cocktail hours. Turn down service, of course. We do have Wi-Fi. We do have internet available there. And also, as far as your meals, at this particular property, full breakfast every day is included, both hot and cold selections, and a la carte dinner off the menu in our main dining room, included for all guests, as well as 6 excursions on the property grounds themselves.
And that's awesome. So we're going to take a little tour. We're going to take a look at the property. Obviously, as you walk into the lobby, you're going to find yourself feeling as if you're you are in a nice, luxurious place, but with a lot of local touches.
Absolutely.
And
It's all handcrafted furniture and Andean fabrics, woven fabrics. Everything is very traditional. The rooms are very, very spacious. Fire.
yes. And so, and these are the casitas that Judy was talking about earlier in terms of, what's available. So uh, you really have a great opportunity. For those of you guys who are going with families, we can put rooms that are close by together or even somewhat connecting.
And children are free under 12 years of age using the existing bedding. We can get up to 4 in a room.
And that's awesome. So, and this is just another opportunity so that you can see what the suites look like in Inkanterra.
This is our extra special VIP. We have a separate suite that does have a butler and an actual swimming pool. So if it's a 2-bedroom casita, and it's just incredible.
That's awesome. So now, going back and into the property, we're taking a look at the bar. Obviously, we want our pisco sour. So having a taste of the local, we must experience.
Oh, it's part of the job. Yes, you have to do that. I mean, you're going there, you have to do it.
And so we talked about meals obviously being included. So you've got your dinner as well as your breakfast, and this would be their dining room.
That's our excuse me, but you're going to end up hearing a message or something. I apologize. We're on live. That's the way it goes. There is our beautiful dining room. And as I said, dinner is it is a la carte. It's off the menu, and it is gourmet cuisine. Peruvian cuisine, absolutely fabulous.
So awesome. So with that, and here are some just great pictures overall of what you're going to experience food-wise. So this is great. To give you a little bit of a flair. Obviously, it's just after lunch. It's a little bit closer to tea time. So when we're talking right now, so, making me want to get ready and do some fun stuff. And again, here's another opportunity for you to be able to see some of the meals that are done in the dining room.
People are always concerned about what they're going to eat when they go to different destinations. So I'm going to give you 2 little trivia points. In Peru, no low-carb diets. There are 3,500 varieties of potatoes and 55 varieties of corn and quinoa and grain. It's wonderful. Fresh food, not fussy food, really, really fresh. Farm to table is absolutely the way that it is. It's not an exception there. That's the way it really is. And this is just showing you, this is our casual dining restaurant. We use that more for lunch.
But I do want to emphasize, if you do have any dietary needs, know that I do work with the hotel directly to make sure that your dietary needs are covered. So it's part of the reservation process as I work with the hotel and you in terms of putting your itinerary together.
Vegetarians are in heaven in Peru.
And so for those of you guys who enjoy wine, the property has its own wine cellar.
Oh, yeah. This is our newest addition at the Machu Picchu Pueblo Hotel, and it's wonderful for wine tastings, or if you have an occasion, if you're going for to be there during a birthday or anniversary, by all means, we can arrange a private dinner for you in the wine cellar.
And that's awesome. So now let's talk about excursions, because the property itself has excursions that are included. Hence why we're also saying you really want to spend a little time here, because you want to take advantage of all of the things that it allows for. Bird watching is, of course, a big deal, as we mentioned earlier. But you also have, the flora and the fauna that you can really enjoy. You can visit a tea plantation, and you have a twilight walk. So there's a lot of different things that you're going to experience while you're there.
And these are complimentary. There is no additional fee for any of these particular excursions. We do have others, but for these, and remember, because of the logistics, you're flying, you're going by road, you're taking a train, you're not getting to Machu Picchu until the middle of the day. You're not going to go up to the archaeological site that day. You're going to rest, relax, take it easy, enjoy the property. So absolutely, 2 nights is a real great idea to be able to do as much as possible in this area.
Yes, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about the whole concept of the birds, right? So there's so many birds that are actually uh, labeled and registered.
Peru
So
is very
um,
big for
mhm,
biodiversity and bird life and wildlife and flowers. And right here you can see we're looking at the Machu Picchu. And if you just look at this particular image, 904 is for all of our properties in the area, but just at Machu Picchu alone, 214 different bird species have been cataloged.
that's just amazing. And then, of course, now when you're looking at the native orchids, which is, I mean, these are beautiful.
The orchid, again, there you see the number 370. This is just at the Machu Picchu property alone. And there are a number of species that grow nowhere else on the planet. So we obviously work with the Orchid Society. So if any of our listeners are into bird watching, if you're into flower and orchid societies, we have an incredible opportunity for you here at the Pueblo Hotel.
That's
Absolutely.
and we also have a conservation project that you guys work with. So, which I really find amazing because this is a species that's only native to South America. So
Absolutely.
you really have an opportunity to actually see it live and
And
experience it.
because this is by donation. This is available to any of our guests, but you do have to advise in advance. It's a little bit of a hike. It's about a 20-minute walk towards the end of the property where we have the Andean Bear Project. And for those of you who may be fans of the Paddington Bear, you may know that the Paddington Bear originated. This was actually designed after the Andean bear, and he had a little scarf and hat, and his he went on the train to London. I don't know how you get by train from Peru to London, but that's what he was doing. But it was the Paddington Bear. But you have an opportunity to not only observe the bears, but donate and contribute to the project.
And
It's
that's awesome. So,
so
as we
as
talked
we
about
talked about
earlier, there are some other excursions that are available that you can actually participate in. So, and some of these are not included, but you certainly, on our itineraries, as I make them, we can make them included. So, you just tell me what is interest to you. If you wanted to do the Citadel, if you wanted to go to the museum market, or even the native farm, whatever your heart desires.
So these would be additional. And what we also offer, when you look at that and you see the additional excursion, the Machu Picchu Citadel, what we can arrange, what Lulu can arrange for you through the hotel, is a private guide to go with you when you go up to do the archaeological site so that they make it come alive. They're telling you the stories and the history. It's not just a pile of rocks. Plus, they carry water, they carry snacks. It's a good idea. And it's
Yeah,
uh,
you don't have to worry about all the extras. Yes.
it's quite economical, and they really assist you with understanding and appreciating what you've come to Peru to see.
And that's super awesome. And so here are just some of the opportunities for you to see some of these services. I'd love to talk about the spa. Obviously, this is an opportunity for that mind, body, spirit, just kind of cleansing ourselves and distressing, especially since we're doing this as a bucket list trip. And not only that, but also with the height, the altitude issues, and everything else, this is really great to help you do the climb and manage all of it. So you've got a lot of local Andean techniques. I can think of the word for a sec. That really will that'll just give you that cultural immersion that you're not going to find anywhere else.
Yes, and all of the treatments, the lotions and potions and everything that they use are indigenous to the local herbs that are grown. So everything is as authentic as it can possibly be. That's what their mission is. And so that's another reason why you want to stay more than just one night. Look at this. This is done with leaves. You've heard the word cocoa leaves. You know about cocoa tea. That helps you adjust with the altitude. Sometimes you get a dull headache, and the cocoa tea is good. This is actually a spa treatment where they're using the cocoa leaves, and it is an old world treatment. So it's just wonderful.
Yeah, and your skin comes out amazingly soft afterwards, I have to tell you.
Absolutely.
So now we're talking about, obviously going from Aguascalientes to the Citadel, so that you can have that excursion into Machu Picchu.
Right. And you can see the lower picture there. You can see that again, it's contrary to everything that you think. We are talking about Agos Caliente, which is in a valley. We
Yes.
are not at the top of the hill. We are
No.
in the village, in a valley. The upper picture are the buses. They run continuously from sunrise to sunset. Everyone goes up there by bus. We assist you at the hotel. Again, we can make the arrangements for a guide. We can buy those tickets in advance for you. It is kind of a spiritual thing that people like to go up to Machu Picchu first thing in the morning.
Yes.
You're in a cloud forest. It is a little cloudy, and strangely enough, it's going to be very cool. But later in the day, it's going to get very warm. So you must dress in layers. And here you see a little bit further explanation. It's a 25-minute bus ride. I might add that it is well, a lot of people are nervous about the ride. It is one lane wide, no guardrails, very windy. It's an experience. It's all part of the journey
It is.
that you're going to have. But it's so well worth it when you get to the top and walking.
Agreed. Absolutely. So here you have an opportunity where you can get a passport stamp with that says that you were a Machu Picchu. And this is really a conversation more for those that have American passports. If you have a passport from another country, you may want to double check with your country, your consulate, to make sure that it is valid, just because you don't want to invalidate your passport.
You know what I've seen some people do, and now that you mention that, Lulu, it may be because they're not American citizens. They just bring a piece of paper with them and
Yes.
stamp the piece of paper so that they can at least say, that they were at Machu Picchu. This is, I mean, like I say, it's a bucket list. You want to check it off, but you want to prove that you were there, not just with your photos. I think this
Yes.
is a really cool thing to do. I want to mention this is really important because a lot of people put Machu Picchu, Peru on their list. Unfortunately, they keep moving it down and they say, oh, we'll get there someday, someday, someday. I'm really telling you from having been going to Machu Picchu now for close to 15 years, each trip gets a little harder. There are a lot of steps.
Yes.
There's altitude. A lot of people bring walking sticks because the steps are stones. It's not a staircase and there are no handrails. So this can be very challenging for somebody who has mobility issues. I'm not really sure how much of the archaeological site they're going to be able to see. Another reason, go sooner rather than later.
Agreed. And so this is more considered a little bit higher than soft adventure. So certainly, I do recommend that those of you who can go earlier, absolutely. We plan it while you're physically able.
Another little piece of trivia at the entry point there, very important, those are the only restrooms. So it's advisable to use them as you enter because once you go through the turnstile and get into the archaeological site, I'm sorry, my friends, there are no facilities. And you'll be up there. Generally, people, when they go up to do this, they're up there for about 4 or 5 hours. And our friends, the llamas, are waiting for you.
Yes, and that's a good tip, right? So, and the llamas, as much as they love us, don't want us to get to leave anything behind. So,
exactly, they're the only ones who may.
exactly. So, we're talking a little bit about some cloud forest opportunities, and obviously, you can see from the picture here, this is just one of the early morning views that you will get a chance to experience.
When you first arrive, at the Citadel, the archaeological site, you will find, especially if you go up in the morning, it is in a cloud forest. At first, it's a little disappointing because you don't really see anything, but you see everybody is standing around waiting for the iconic shot when the clouds disperse, and all of a sudden, the majestic archaeological site that you've hoped to see is in front of your eye. It is It is a spiritual thing. You know, there are places in the world that we go to. We don't even know why it hits us the way that it does. And I have to say, my very first trip and each subsequent trip, I don't know why. I have no connection, as far as I know, to the Incas, but it is a very spiritual place. So just enjoy it. And be careful taking your selfies up there. It's really, there's lots of ledges and people are trying to get their selfie shots. So really be very careful when you're up there.
Great advice. That's awesome. So, and just so that you were talking about the ledges, these ledges were constructed in 1450s
Look at that.
onwards. So, I mean, and these things have been, living forever. In what we think of in terms of timelines, and so take our pictures. Let's enjoy them. Let's feel the spiritualness, and being careful.
Well, the Incas were incredible engineers. They were way ahead of their time. To think that this was done so long ago and most of it is still standing,
Yeah,
despite earthquakes and everything else that went on. So this is part of the spiritual journey of going here. And when you have a guide who's telling you the stories, it really does come alive, and it's really a wonderful, wonderful. You will not be disappointed. Let me just say that.
absolutely. And so one of the things that I've noticed overall, there's so many structures, and so they really have engineered, throughout, obviously from when they started, all of these things by hand.
Right. Well, when you think about that, they didn't have any electricity. There were no
Yeah,
power tools. Everything was carried, one at a time, and there was levers. And again, this is all explained to you, but still, when you look at all of these rocks, where they came from and how they got there, and again, this is a great shot to show you. You think you are at the highest altitude when you're looking at this, but remember, when we flew into Cusco, we had to go lower to the Sacred Valley and lower still to get to Machu Picchu. The altitude here is roughly about 8,500 feet. So it's a little bit more tolerable, and your body is adjusting to this. And this is one of the Incas worshipped the sun, the moon, the stars. They had all different gods. They were very superstitious people. But again, look at it's still standing. And this
yeah.
was dedicated the Temple of the Sun.
And here's your Temple of the Moon.
Important, and it's just amazing when you're there just to see this. And this is the condor. If you look really close, you look at the placement of the stones and think these had to be etched by hand with
Yeah,
what kind of tools, and it's still standing. And that is to sort of get the idea. They worshipped the condor. The condor was a very sacred symbol to the Incas. There's so much there to learn about. It's great.
and how every layer, all these terraces and everything else, everything is just beautiful and proportionate.
The
And
terraces were
I,
a practical thing because this became the lost city of the Incas. People actually lived here. They had to farm. And so they found, by doing this series of terraces and aqueducts, they found also the temperature is different at each level of the terraces. So they were able to grow different crops. And the aqueducts, the way that otherwise, if they didn't build the aqueducts, and who told them to do it, I don't know, but if they didn't build the aqueducts, all the water, all would have eroded. But by having
yeah,
the aqueducts, the water was channeled where it needed to go. That's another reason why this is all still standing.
yeah, and so this is super awesome. And so obviously we praise, the ancestries of the Incas in terms of being able to do all of these things by hand, without any mortar, cut them, etc. It's things that we wish we could actually still do today,
Yeah,
but
right. Well, we stand to learn a lot if we look back. We don't always have to look forward. sometimes you have to look backwards to learn. And when you go there and you see this, you can't even get a piece of paper or a credit card between the stones, and they're all interlocked. When you're in Lima and you go into the main museum, one of the main museums in Lima is called Larco, Larco, the Larco Museum. They
Mhm.
actually have cutaways of these portions so that you can see it's really, they're all, I don't, there's a term that I can't even read, my ashlar, where it's like puzzle pieces and they all
Yes.
connect and they don't move. So that's one of the reasons why they're still standing. There's no mortar at all
And,
used.
and that's awesome. So another view with all the steps that you're going to find.
See what I
So
was saying about steps? At least, well, now I'm not saying you're going to walk the 3,000 steps, but you're going to walk a couple hundred. So a walking stick is advisable. Um, be prepared. I mean, it is, I don't want to say extreme, but it is strenuous and you do have to take it slower, but you will never, ever forget it. And you can see it. I mean, it's so picturesque every time you turn around. They're
And
just,
so, and one of the things that's good about usually when we buy the tickets, um, you have the ability to actually go up for 2 days.
well,
So
you have to,
where you have a guided day, and then you have a secondary day that's on your own.
that's what's important. If you plan on doing it, and this has happened to me where I've gone and only had a one night stay. And when it came time for me to go up to the archaeological site, it was torrential rain. There's no structure, there's no protection. And here you are, you're forced, you've waited so long to get there. And now, no matter what, you are going to be going up. So if you do allow 2 days, because you can take an evening train back on the second day, it will give you the opportunity to go up twice. And that way you don't miss anything.
Yes, agreed. Oh, this has been amazing in terms of the views and just I feel already a spiritual connection just from watching this. So for those of you guys who are, so excited about doing this and this being on your bucket list, we absolutely need to make this happen for you.
Without a doubt, and the sooner the better. Well,
Absolutely. I totally agree
at
on
the
that.
moment, we can't go
So
through quite yet, but plan on doing it next year, maybe, if not this year. The rainy season, I did want to mention too. The rainy season is the winter months. You're looking at November to March is the rainy season.
that's good to know. So November to March is the rainy season. Not that you can't go, just know that you'll need to be prepared. And with all of that, Sarah Marshall does send us a hello.
Hello,
She
Sarah.
said,
Good to see that you're online. Thank you.
she said two of my favorite people. So, Sarah, thank you so much for joining us. And it really is. It's a beautiful part of the world to experience. It, again, definitely a bucket list. I'd love to help you plan a lot of these. And and we can combine it. It doesn't have to be just one destination. We can do Peru and maybe combine Galapagos, which is something that a lot of my clients have done in the past. Or we can combine it with Chile or Argentina. So if you do have that 2-3 week option, let's kind of make it happen. But again, with that, I'm just loving everything about Machu Picchu, and definitely will be hopefully filming live in 2021 from the destination.
Wouldn't that be terrific? And while you're there, you can also extend, and we can talk about on another one or two of these interviews, we can talk about the other properties in the Sacred Valley, and then we can go on to the Peruvian rainforest. And oh, that's magical as well.
Absolutely. So, Judy, thank you so much for being with us today. This was absolutely amazing, educational, and I'm ready to do Life's Classroom.
Yay!
So, um,
Thank you for inviting me, Lulu. It's been terrific.
Awesome. Oh, it was my pleasure. Do you have any other closing words?
There are a million words. The problem is getting me to stop using my words and to be quiet. I truly, I have such an affection for Peru and the Peruvian people. and their culture and their heritage. And they are very humble people. They are friendly people, and they want to share it all with you. Very respectful destination to go to, not just to visit, but when you engage with the local people. I hope that each and every one of you gets to check Peru and Machu Picchu off your list.
Awesome. Thank you. That was very inspirational, and definitely it certainly is on 2021's plan trips. So with that, namaste. Thank you for joining us. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.